Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our group is going to present on the activity-based management topic. I am the first presenter and my name is Wan Afina binti Syekwan Ghazali.
Hi, my name is Nur Suzanara binti Khalid and I am a second presenter.
Hi, my name is Siti Nur Atika binti Rosli and I am a third presenter.
Hi, my name is Hajar Izzati binti Bajaros. I am the fourth presenter. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up and thanks for watching.
Before we proceed further into the presentation, I would like to put an overview on what you will learn in this topic. The first one is on the definition of ABM, the differences of ABM and ABC, the relationship of ABM and ABC, cost drivers for ABM, type of ABM, stages in ABM, steps of ABM, and their advantage and disadvantage of ABM. Now we proceed on the definition of what is activity-based management, ABM. ABM is a process of using information from activity-based costing, ABC, to analyze activities, cost drivers, and performance. And this can be applicable to different types of business and companies such as manufacturers, service providers, non-profit organizations, schools, and government agencies. Some of general examples for this ABM is, the first one is analyzing profitability of new products. For example, looking at the marketing and production costs, sale, warranty claims, cost of repair, and time needed for exchange of the product. Second is on the opening second location of office, where this ABM can help them to manage the cost of running the location, such as staff facilities cost, overhead, and also subsequent profit to cover the cost. Now I will proceed on the presentation of activity-based management and activity-based costing section. The first is on the difference. An overview of activity-based management. Activity-based management supports the business excellence by providing information to facilitate long-term strategic decision of a company. And this is done by allowing the management to gain some new insight into activity performance by gaining the attention on sources of demand for these activities and permitting the management to create some behavioral incentive to improve one or more aspect of this business. Second, ABM also supports the case for continuous improvement. This is to allow the product designer to understand the impact of different design on cost and their flexibility, and to modify the design accordingly. This is on the differences between ABM and ABC. For ABM, the definition is the process of using information from activity-based costing to analyze activities, cost drivers, and performance. The dimension of this ABM is on the dynamic view that report what is happening in the business. Objective for ABM is to reduce costs and improve their performance. An overview of activity-based costing. Activity-based costing is not a method but a technique for managing the organization to be better. It is a one-off exercise which measures the cost and performance of activity, resources, and objects which consume them. And to be sure that ABM involves an ABC to provide some management reporting and also decision making. The definition on ABC is to provide the information about activities, cost driver, and performance. The dimension is calculating the cost of cost object, and the objective is to make the strategic decision for the company. I think that's all from me. Now I would like to pass to the next presenter.
Now, I will proceed with the relationship between activity-based management and activity-based costing. Before we discuss about the relationship, we need to be clear about these two methods. In activity-based costing, it is a methodology that can be used to measure both the cost of cost object, and the performance of activities. While activity-based management, it is a tool developed to support the process-based organization by providing information and data needed to plan, manage, control, and direct the activities of a business to improve processes, products, and services to eliminate waste. The relationship between ABM and ABC is there are interrelated methodologies. ABM can be influenced by the information received from ABC process. The ABC can have two dimensions, which are costing and activity management. The costing dimension is used to calculate the cost of product, while the activity management dimension is a dynamic view that reports what is happening in the business. This two dimension of ABC is providing information about activities, cost drivers, and performance, as well as cost of cost object. From that, the ABM will refer to the process of using information from ABC to analyze activities, cost drivers, and performance so that the customer's value and profitability are improved. In this figure, it shows that the horizontal axis represents the business process view. The vertical dimensions, which are resources, activities, and cost object, represent as a ABC. When the second dimension is added, which are made up of cost drivers and performance measurement, the result will become as a ABM. Next, we move to the cost drivers of activity-based management. What is cost driver? Cost driver are the activities or factors that cause a cost to be incurred. Cost represents the consumption of resources, and these resources are consumed in the performance of activities or some other direct cost factor. In activity-based costing, we recognize that activity costs are usually dependent on two different kinds of drivers, which are resource drivers and activity drivers. In resource drivers, it indicates the rate at which an activity consumes the resource, while activity drivers, it measures the amount of activity consumed by or caused by a cost object. For root cause cost drivers, it is the basic factors that cause activities to be performed and their cost to be incurred. In most cases, the root causes cost drivers are analyzed in reducing non-value added activities and their costs. Once the root cause cost drivers have been identified, management can develop a program for reducing costs by eliminating the root causes of these non-value added activities. This program may involve a fundamental restructure of process. While activity cost drivers focus on cost, root cause cost drivers can be managed without conversion to cost. Let's look at the type of activity-based management. There are two types of activity-based management, which are operational ABM and strategic ABM. Firstly, the operational ABM is about doing things right, where ABM will use the information from ABC to make and improve the organization to be more efficient by reducing the cost of the activities and eliminating those activities that do not add value, which means ABM process will identify those added value activities first before they make any improvement, and those non-value added activities can be reduced or eliminated without reducing the product values. So it states that even though they eliminate or reduce some non-value added activities, the quality of the product will remain the same as before or after improvement. Secondly, the strategic ABM is about doing the right things, which is essentially involved in deciding which product to make and which activities to use. It is based on the more accurate analysis of product and customer profitability that ABC allows. To use ABM, we need more comprehensive analysis that includes the stage in activity-based management. There are 3 stages in ABM. First stage is identify the activities that organization perform. Second stage is calculate the cost of each activity. And the last stage is identify the activity cost driver for each activity. The initial stages in ABM are the same as for ABC. In first stage, to identify every activity that the organization performs, judgment will need to be used to identify the significant activities since the organization perform of different activities and some of the activities is not feasible or even beneficial. The judgment can be done based on the amount of time that is spent performing them or based on the expected cost. In second stage, the total cost of each activity will include not only manufacturing overhead costs, but also the cost of the direct labor used to undertake activities. And the last stage is to identify the activity cost driver for each activity. As we know, the cost driver is the factor that causes the cost of an activity to vary. In traditional costing, it was always assumed that the cost driver was volume of production, measured either in terms of the number of units or a proxy, such as the number of labor hours or the number of machine hours. However, in ABM, it is recognized that the cost of a particular activity may depend on something other than volume of output. Moreover, cost drivers can generally be identified for a given activity that should be used for cost accumulation or activity elimination. In the case of sales order processing, the cost driver may be the number of orders processed. In the other example, is material movement is cost of driver for material handling activity. Now, I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Okay, thank you. Now I will proceed with the steps in activity-based management. Okay, before that, let's go through with the meaning first. So what is activity? Activity is defined as unit of works performed within the company. These activities can be divided into two, which are value-added and non-value added. So the value-added activity is the activity which adds value to the product's quality and performance. In other words, it is activity that provides essential value to customer and also essential to the functioning of the business. As for the non-value-added activity, it is activity which does not add value to product's quality and performance. In other words, it is contra with value-added activities. So this is some example for value-added activities and non-value-added activities. Example for value-added activities such as processing the order from customer, delivering the order to customer, and designing the products. So all those example mentions provide value to the customers and are essential to the functioning of the business. As for the non-value-added activities, the examples are such as waiting a phone call from customer, storage of raw materials, and setting up machines. All those examples are non-value-added activities because they does not add value to customers' perspective or for business. Okay, now let's proceed with the steps to implement activity-based management. There are a few steps that a company needs to consider in implementing ABM. ABM provides 3 steps for manager to use that can lead to improved efficiency and profitability of operations. So the first step to implement ABM is by identifying the activities performed by the company. Organization perform hundreds, if not thousands, of different activities. It would not be feasible or even beneficial to identify each activity that the organization performs. Therefore, judgment will need to be used to identify the significant activities based on the amount of time that is spent performing them, or based on the expected cost. The company needs to identify all the significant activities that take place to see the overall views of the operation and the people involved in the operation. And for the next step to implement ABM is by classifying the activities as either value-added or non-value-added. Once the activities are specified and the cost of each activity is calculated, the company needs to identify whether the activities performed will add value to the product or service and whether it can satisfy the consumer. And the last step is to enhance value-added activities and eliminate or reduce non-value activities. The company needs to focus on the activities that will add value to customer or help the effective operation of the business. Continuously improving the service and the product provided is one of the keys to maintain value-added activities. Non-value-added activities can be eliminated and also can be reduced. Okay, now let's take a look, for example, by the company in implementing ABM. So here we take pizza restaurant and pen institution as an example. we will see a sample for pizza restaurant first. So the first step taken by pizza restaurant to implement ABM is by identifying activities performed by the restaurant. So those activities include taking order by phone, put customer on hold, place order in a queue, prepare and bake pizza, throw out baked pizza, and also deliver the cooked pizza. So for the second step is the pizza restaurant need to classify whether those activities mentioned before is a value added or non-value added. Once the activities are specified and the cost of each activities is calculated, pizza restaurant needs to identify whether the activities performed will add value to the product or service and whether it can satisfy the consumer. So for the last step is pizza restaurant need to enhance or improve value added activities and eliminate or reduce non-value added activities. As you can see, take order by phone is one of the value added activity which can be improved to a better one since it is important to the quality and performance of the product. Therefore, pizza restaurant may enhance the value added by using online method to take in order, where this can help to minimize the non-value added or put customer on hold. Okay, now let's move to the second example, which is bank institution for the processing loan. Therefore, in step 1, the activities will involve interviewing personnel throughout the company in order to capture all the activities involved in processing loan. For example, quick approval of a loan and also the time spent waiting for credit reports. As for the next step, the bank institution need to classify the activity either it is value added or non-value added. So as we can see, the quick approval of a loan is a value added activity, while time spent waiting for credit report is non-value added since it does not add value to the functioning of the business. The last step is to improve value added activity and minimize or eliminate non-value added activities. So quick approval of a loan is obviously a value-added activities in this case. Therefore, bank institution need to continually strive to improve its ability to approve loan quickly. And as for the non-value added, which is waiting for credit report, needs to be minimized. The bank institution may also find other value-added activities such as responding to customer questions or processing other loan application in order to minimize those non-value added activity. So now I will pass to the next presenter.
The last part of activity-based management is advantages and disadvantages. There are several advantages and disadvantages of this activity-based management. Which activity-based management actually focus on accountability for the activities rather than cost and emphasize the maximization of the system. Okay, so there are a few advantages, which firstly, the benefits of the using of ABM in the business, which they can improve the quality and reduce the cost of the product, which activity-based management actually helps the management to improve the quality of the product by analyzing the activities that only provide the relevant information to the managers. So those activities that do not add value to the operation can be stopped. Hence, the cost of product will be reduced. Second advantages is it can identify wastage and non-value added activities, which activity-based management manage to classify each of the activities, whether it is a value adding or non-value adding. So value added activities will add value to the product and give benefits in a viewpoint of the customer, whereas non-value added activities are activities that do not give any extra benefit to the customer. The last advantages, which is it can shorten the lead time, which implementing the activity-based management can also help the company to shorten the lead time in the production process. So company also will be able to produce products faster and able to introduce new products faster as well. Let's move on to disadvantages. Okay, so what are the limitation of using the activity-based management in a business, which they actually are highly expensive to implement, which activity-based management has its limitation, which is it is highly expensive to implement. So using this activity-based management will cause a lot of changes and will incur costs. As for example, a company need to send their managers and staff to training on the new implementation using ABM. Second is resistant to change. Most of the company that decide to implement ABM will have the problem with their employees that are resisting to change. For example, we can say that employee will resist to go training and learn further about ABM, and then it is very difficult to identify the pinpoint which activities are non-value added. This is valid to the new company that is going to implement ABM, which they will have the problem to differentiate the activities, whether the activities are non-value added or value added activities. Therefore, the management will spend more time implementing the activity-based management. So as a conclusion, there are advantages and disadvantages in this implementing the activity-based management. It will require the management to have a discussion or decision making before enforcing the implementation of the activity-based management. I think that's all from our group. Thank you.